Hi, this is Gravity. It's a sure thing. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about the kings of Israel. But specifically, we're going to look at the northern kingdom. But to quickly recap, the children of Israel requested Samuel to anoint a king like other nations. However, to displease him, Samuel anointed Saul as king. After reigning for 20 years, Saul killed himself, being wounded at the Battle of Gilboa. David was then anointed and reigned for 40 years, and later made his son Solomon reign after him. God granted Solomon wisdom, riches, and glory, and the children of Israel enjoyed the peace during Solomon's reign by David's many wars. Solomon does what is evil in the sight of the Lord. He goes after Ashtoreth, the goddess of Assyrians. After Milcom, the detestable idol of the Ammonites. After Chemosh, the detestable idol of Moab. And after Molech, the detestable idol of Ammon. This was the great sin of Solomon, of which God divided the kingdom. But for David's sake, the punishment did not fall upon Solomon, but upon his son Rehoboam.
Jeroboam was the first king of Israel. He was also the son of Nebat. In Jeroboam's reign, he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. Jeroboam firstly instituted Yahweh as a calf and placed it in temples in Dan and Bethel. Furthermore, Jeroboam also instituted non-Levitical priests from every class of people. He then also made a non-Levite feast on the 15th day of the 8th month. One day, while burning incense in the temple, a man of God from Judah shouted out that a child will be born named Josiah that will defile this idolatrous altar. And as a sign of this, the altar was split and ashes pour out. Enraged, Jeroboam stretches his hand and shouts, "Arrest this man." As he does this, his hand gets withered and is unable to pull it back. And then the ashes fall out and the altar splits. Because of this, Jeroboam then entreats the man and asks him to pray for him, and then he is healed.
Jeroboam's son Abijah becomes sick, so Jeroboam just tells his wife to go to Shinar and consult the prophet Ahijah. She disguises herself and does so. Ahijah is old and cannot see, but the Lord reveals to him that it is Jeroboam's wife who comes. He greets her and says, "Come in, wife of Jeroboam. Go tell Jeroboam, because you have done more evil than all who were before you, I'll bring disaster upon this nation, and I'll cut off from Jeroboam every male in Israel." Ahijah continues, "Arise, therefore, go to your house in Tirzah, and when your feet enter the city, the child shall die." She arises and does so, and when her feet enter the threshold of the house, Abijah dies. After Jeroboam's death, his son Nadab takes the throne. Baasha of the house of Issachar conspires against him and kills him and takes the throne.
In the days of Baasha, when he is ruling, there is hostility between him and Asa, the king of Judah. Baasha, fearing that the people will go to Asa to have worship, fortifies Ramah because it is 2 hours away from Jerusalem. Because he has done this, the word of the Lord goes down to Jehu the prophet and tells him that because Baasha had done this evil and wickedest thing, that he will cut off his house like he did to Jeroboam and cut off every male in the house of Israel. When this happens, Zimri, the military officer, conspires against his son Elah and cuts him down. He then goes to the house of Baasha and cuts down all that are to his name.
When the army hears that Zimri killed Elah, they anoint Omri as king of Israel. When Zimri hears that the city is taken, he burns the palace and lets it collapse on him. Zimri reigns a total of 7 days. Omri restores peace back with Judah, Moab, and all other lost territories. But to cement the union with Tyre, he makes his son Ahab marry Jezebel, the daughter of King of Tyre. She introduced Baal worship to Israel. Because of this, Omri was denounced by the prophets, but he made a new strategic new capital, Samaria, to rival Jerusalem. After its death, Ahab takes the throne.
Ahab's marriage to Jezebel opens the door to Baal worship in Israel. When Ahab takes the throne, the word of the Lord comes to Elijah the prophet, and he goes to meet him. Elijah then proclaims that there will be no rain nor dew in Israel until his word. He then goes to a remote location where ravens feed him and he drinks from a local stream. After the 3 years, Elijah comes back and Ahab meets him and says, "Is that you, O trouble of Israel?" Elijah responds, "It is not me who troubles Israel, but you, Ahab." He then tells him to gather all the 450 priests of Baal and the 400 priests of Asherah to meet at Mount Carmel to see who really is God, Baal or Yahweh. When they get there, Elijah tells the prophets of Baal to set up an altar and put a bull on the altar, but not to burn it. He then tells them to go cry to their God and tell their God to answer by fire. Until the evening and then the morning, there is no answer. Baal is silent. The next day, Elijah tells them to bring a bull, but this time put water 3 times on the offering. After this, praise the Lord, and God answers by fire. He then orders all the priests of Baal to be executed in the Kidron Brook.
After the slaughter of her prophets, Jezebel threatens Elijah. Elijah retreats and goes to the wilderness, greatly discouraged. But the Lord encourages Elijah and tells him to anoint Hazael as king of Syria, Jehu as king of Israel, and Elisha as prophet in his place. He goes to find Elisha and throws up his cloak as a symbol to the call to the prophetic office. Syria besieges Samaria, but twice Ahab defeats them. Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, pleads for his life, and Ahab spares him. But the Lord is angry with this and tells him, "Because you let slip your hand to the man who I ordered the utter destruction of, your life should come for his life, and your people for his people."
At another point in Ahab's life, he wants to buy a tract of land for his summer palace. He sees a vineyard, but it is already preoccupied by a man called Naboth. He goes to Naboth and asks him of his price as he wants to buy it. But Naboth denies his request as he said it is of parental inheritance, and Israelite law does not allow you to sell your inheritance. Angry with this, Jezebel makes up a plan to accuse Naboth and his family of blasphemy. When the plan goes into action, Naboth and his sons are stoned. The word of the Lord comes down to Elijah the prophet, saying that where the dogs licked Naboth and his sons, so too will Ahab's blood be licked. He goes on saying that he will cut off Ahab's lineage and every male of Israel. He carries on by saying that Jezebel shall be eaten by dogs in the gate of Jezreel.
Syria besieges Israel the 3rd time. So Ahab asked Jehoshaphat to go with him to war against Ramoth Gilead. Ramoth Gilead was the city bordering Syria and Israel. But it belonged to the Israelites, but the Syrians had taken it as theirs. Jehoshaphat agrees, but says the inquiring of the Lord must be made. So Ahab gathers his 400 prophets and asks them, "Should we go to war against Ramoth Gilead, All of the prophets, without exception, agreed that the Lord would deliver Ramoth-Gilead into your hands. But Jehoshaphat does not think these prophets as genuine prophets and asks, is there any prophet true to Yahweh? Ahab admits that there is one prophet by the name of Micah, whom he hates because he says nothing concerning him good, but everything concerning him evil. So he gets Micah out of the prison and asks him, should we go to war against Ramoth-Gilead? Micah with a mocking tone says, yes, go, and the Lord will deliver Ramoth-Gilead into your hands. Ahab perceives the mockery and commands him to only speak in the truth in the name of Yahweh. With such seriousness, Micah said, do not go, or such disaster will come upon you if you do. Ahab tells Jehoshaphat, did not I tell you that this prophet says nothing concerning me good, but everything concerning me evil? Micah perceives further revelation and says, I saw Israel scattered on the mountains like sheep with no shepherd. And the Lord said, these people have no shepherd. Let each of them return to their house in peace. Micah leaves Jehoshaphat and Ahab with these words, if you indeed return safely, the Lord has not spoken by me.
Ahab and Jehoshaphat discard the warning to go up against Syria. In battle, Ahab is shot by a random arrow, and as he is on the chariot, he bleeds out, and the blood goes on the chariot. Later that day, Ahab dies, and his body is taken back to Samaria, where it is buried. That very night, his chariot gets cleaned by a servant, and as the servant is cleaning it, dogs lick the blood of Ahab on the chariot. After Ahab's death, his son Ahaziah takes the throne. When Ahaziah takes the throne, one day he falls out of a window and is very fatally injured. He orders some of his messengers to go to Ekron in Philistia to inquire of the local deity Beelzebub if he will get better. On the way, the messengers of Ahaziah encounter Elijah, and Elijah prophesies to them that because Ahaziah the king had went to inquire to other gods and not inquire from the God Yahweh, their own God, he will die. When Ahaziah dies, his brother takes the throne.
Joram takes the throne. Misha had been paying an annual tribute to Ahab, but when he heard of Ahab's death, he stopped paying the tribute. So Joram asks Jehoshaphat to go with him to war. Jehoshaphat agrees and also brings his vassal, the king of Edom. The three united kings go to battle through the way of the wilderness. The valleys are dry and there is no water, so they become very thirsty, and Jehoshaphat asks, is there a prophet nearby? The servant says, yes, Elisha is nearby. So the three kings go to Elisha, and Joram is about to speak, but Elisha says, what have I to do with you? Go to the prophets of your fathers and mothers. Joram tells him that he is with Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and the king of Edom. Elisha says, if it wasn't for Jehoshaphat to be with you, I would not have seen you, let alone help you. So the hand of the Lord comes upon Elisha, and he says, let these valleys be filled with water. You shall see rain nor wind, but the valleys will be filled with water. And the Lord will deliver the Moabites into your hands. The next day, heavy rain falls, and the valleys are filled. The sun rises, and from afar, the waters look like blood. The Moabites think that the three united kings had fought together and killed each other, and they rush to take the spoil. But the three kings are ready to put a fight. The Moabite king with 700 men tries to fight back, but fails. So he rushes back, but the Israelites are following them. In such desperation, the king of Moab sacrifices his son, his firstborn son, which was to succeed him as an offering to his god Chemosh. Because of this, great wrath falls upon the kings, and they are unable to put the Moabites into total control.
Joram goes up against Syria to defend Ramoth Gilead. Ahaziah, the king of Judah, also joins him. When they are in battle, Joram gets injured and is sent back to camp. When he gets back, Ahaziah goes there to meet him. In the battlefield, they leave their military commander Jehu to look and oversee over the progress. Elisha the prophet, knowing of this, sends one of the prophet's sons to go and anoint Jehu as king over Israel. When they get there, they anoint Jehu and tell them of the commission of God to go and cut down the lineage of Joram. When he hears of this, he rides out to go to the camp where Joram is getting treated at. When Joram hears that he has come to meet him, he rides out to greet him. When he is riding, he senses conspiracy and rides away from him, shouting treachery Ahaziah. Before he makes it, Jehu shoots an arrow, killing Joram instantly. Ahaziah then flees and Jehu chases him. Jehu then shoots an arrow, not killing but injuring Ahaziah. Later on, Ahaziah dies from his wounds.
Jehu was anointed king to smite all Ahab's descendants. After killing Joram and Ahaziah, he returns to Jezreel, where Jezebel is looking from an upper window. He commands that she be thrown to the ground and tramples on her with his horses and chariots. Then he goes into the palace to eat and drink, and commands his servants to go and bury her body, to go and bury Jezebel's body. They go outside and they cannot find her body, as the dogs had eaten it, as was prophesied by the prophet Hosea. So then they can only find her skull, her palms of her hands, and her feet. He also commands that all Ahab's 70 sons be killed and has their heads put in piles for all to see. He also has all Ahab's court officials killed. Then he invites all the prophets of Ahab, and as if to congratulate them, but has all of them killed. Thus Jehu eradicated Baal worship out of Israel. For this, Jehu was commended by God. But he still sinned the way Jeroboam did, worshipping a calf in Dan and Bethel.
The son of Jehu, Jehoahaz, takes the throne. When he takes the throne, he does not bring back Baal worship, but still carries on in the ways of his father and in the ways of his grandfather, Jeroboam. Because of this, God punishes them by sending Syria and King Hazor to take them in. Because of this, Jehoahaz asks God for a deliverer, so God sent the Assyrian king as their deliverer. Despite this, the Assyrian king places them in heavy tribute. When Jehoahaz dies, his son Joash takes the throne.
Under the reign of Joash, there is a rise of prosperity in Israel. As a young king, he goes to consult Elisha, who is old and near to death. Bending over with a mournful voice, he says, "My father, my father." Elisha had repeatedly saved the army from ambushes by the Assyrians. To Joash, Elisha's presence was needed in place of the chariots and horsemen. Because of his faith, Elisha told him to go to his window and throw an arrow to the ground. This was a symbol of Yahweh's arrow. Then go to the ground and throw the rest of the arrows. Instead of throwing all the rest, he only throwed 3. Because of this, he would only have 3 victories over Syria instead of complete. Joash was able to get all the lost territories, but was unable to have complete victory over the Syrians.
Jeroboam II takes the throne. When he takes the throne, he accomplishes many feats and makes Israel reach the zenith of its power. He conquers many territories and gains many military victories. Although these military victories are accompanied by spiritual decay and apostasy, said by the prophet Jonah. The prophet Amos is later says of Jeroboam's decline, and the people say that he is plotting against their king and asks him to leave the country. When Jeroboam dies, his son Zechariah takes the throne.
Zechariah, the son of Jeroboam, takes the throne. He only reigns for 6 months when he is killed by Shallum and down in front of the people. With the end of Zechariah, the prophecy of Jehu is fulfilled. Not only the extermination of Jehu's line, but the end of the monarchy. The successors to Zechariah are not so much as kings, but assassins, tyrants, and robbers. This era is bringing Israel to the downward path to the end by the destructions by the Assyrians.
Shallum, the conspirator against the death of Jehu, takes the throne and only rules for a month. He's later assassinated by Manasseh, the general and military leader, when he is coming to Samaria from Tizarah.
Mena was a leader in Tirzah, but he takes the throne when he has assassinated Shallum. He was very cruel. He even ruthlessly, he punished the inhabitants by brutally killing all pregnant women. He became more unpopular by imposing heavy tribute for the Assyrians.
Hezekiah takes the throne and he rules for 2 years. He continues collecting tribute for the Assyrians, but then he is assassinated by the army general Pekah with 50 men from Gilead.
When Pekah takes the throne, he allied with Rezin and also asked Judah to come in this coalition against the Assyrians. So Isaiah advised Uzziah against this course, and when Judah does not respond and say yes, he attacks Judah and takes off captives. Judah asks Assyria for aid, so the Assyrians respond and attack Israel and take captives off, only leaving Pekah with the hill country of Samaria. Hosea conspires against him and kills him and takes the throne.
When Hoshea takes the throne, he continues in the giving of tribute to Assyria. When he finds out that the king of Assyria had died, he foolishly thinks that he can stop paying tribute to the Assyrians, and he sends ambassadors to Egypt to ask for assistance. But at this time, Egypt is both weak and divided, and unable to help. When the new king of Assyria comes into power and finds out that he is missing tribute from Israel, he marches down to Israel. Hoshea goes to meet him with the long-awaited tribute, and when they meet, the king of Assyria senses conspiracy and takes him there into captivity. At this time, he takes all of Israel also into captivity. This is the end of the Israel kingdom.
An Assyrian governor was placed over the land. Many Israelites were taken into captivity to Assyria. In place of these, foreign people were imported, the Babylonians and other people. These people intermarried with those who were left behind, bringing mixtures of cultures. These people were later to be called Samaritans. Because of this mixture of culture, Yahweh was still worshipped, but at least in an outward form, along with many other gods.
In summary, over the 200 years of the nation's existence, God, and through God's many warnings and bringing of prophets to the land, all Israel's 19 kings were wicked and idolatrous in their ways. So in 722 BC, God sent the Assyrians as an instrument of judgment, and through a brutal Assyrian conquest, they were captured and brought back to Assyria. Thank you for watching. You can follow our page on Facebook. It's called
Gravity, it's a sure thing.